Okay. Yes, thank you all for joining today's session on chatbot for interview preparation. Okay, are we recording, right? Recording's not started.
It is started. You can go ahead.
Sure, sure. Thank you for all joining today's session on LinkedIn for chatbot for interview preparation. So this is related to practical demonstration of building chatbot using LLMs. We can just dive into the details of the chatbot project. Okay. So we'll be going today with introduction, summary, market analysis, data collection, architecture of LLMs, chatbot, and then app development with Streamlit, and then timeline, how we build the project and scope. So today in this presentation, I'm Muhammad Yahiya from Hyderabad, India. And also Anand also joined along with me to present to he will be explaining few of the details of the presentation today. So coming to the introduction, so usually actually we built this LLM based chatbot recently for Omdena project. We built this chatbot for the basic use case for interview preparation. So this chatbot able to help the students or the experienced professionals, right, who will be preparing for HR interviews. So this will be helpful in terms of revising their learnings, and it also will be helping them to give some kind of assessment, evaluations, and ratings onto the mock interview which they have been given to the chatbot. So the chatbot is like you need to access the Streamlit dashboard, add few details such as name and the job role, then go with the interview. So in the interview part, you need to initially add details of the profile summary or self-introduction, and then chatbot starts the question. So you need to answer by starting the voice recordings, and you need to upload the voice recording to the chatbot. It will go through a pipeline of few questions. Okay, so there will be set of questions or the modules which it will be going through. So similar to the interview session, right? You will be having initial introduction, then going with the experience or the details of project, how he handled, and the situation that went fail, how he handled the customers well or not, and then navigating more in details of his experience in terms of fresher or experienced person. So that will be captured in terms of history, and then the evaluations will be shared in terms of ratings, and suggestions of or the areas of improvements will be given to the aspirant of the interviewer. So as discussed, this project deals with evaluating the response given by candidate, providing quantitative and personalized feedback for HR rounds of interview specifically, and able to help the aspirants to attend mock interviews and identify areas of improvement so that he can again come back and go through the mock interview session and see his areas in improvement, and then he can able to perform better at real world interviews. So that's what's the actual use case, and we started collected initially. Yeah, before data collection, I just want to more deep dive into the how this conversational chatbots market is all about. Like, okay, so we already using like Siri, Alexa, and Google Assistant from past 1 decade, and you have seen like they are serving few purposes for us. They are kind of like rule-based or ML-based chatbots. Those are able to help us to automate few of the tasks, right? Now, with advanced NLP technique such as LLMs, we able to better understand human speech and respond intelligently. So companies spend a lot of money on recruitment, screening candidates, scheduling interviews. So that should be minimized, right? In terms of recruitment process, which is tiresome in companies. Screening candidates also, like around when companies conduct 100 interviews, they might be seeing only like 10-15% are the capable candidates for the given interview. So they just want to reduce the screening process and streamline the recruitment process by having managed resources, right? And also reduce the time and cost occurring on individual hiring of a candidate. So with this AI powered chatbots, organizations can reduce these costs while ensuring high quality hires. So there is a lot of market for the chatbots in terms of any chatbots, not about interview preparations, right? So we have chatbot for different set of domains. It may be healthcare, it may be automobile, it may be banking. So there are many much market existed to streamline the process and to solve the queries of a customer. So which was not happening earlier, right? Earlier you mostly had a rule-based chatbot that only is with a logic of programming and that can only handle few of the tasks, but there was a much more human in the loop where we are getting replies after like or our queries getting solved after 1 week. So but with these chatbots, with AI based chatbot, the queries and the human in the loop will be reduced, and there will be much more streamlined, or the services will be delivered to the user better, and 24 by 7 will be available. So we used few of the techniques while building this chatbot, right? We initially used market research, collected the data, then we used NLP, few of the techniques to group the similar data questions, and then we used ChromaDB to store the questions. We have been used different LLM models for different set of tasks to build this complete set of chatbot pipeline. Using Streamlit mic recorder, we able to get the initial speech to be taken into the module, and the chatbot can convert this speech into text, and that can be processed for the process of the chatbot, which is going with the interview process. So this is the problem statement. As I told you, right? Interview preparation is very important for a candidate to be successful in a job. So why, what are the areas of improvement the candidates can go with the chatbot? So he can able to see, does he have a lot of confidence in attending the interviews? Do I have very less communication skills? So these chatbots can also score and rate the communication skill of a user, whichever he is attempting this mock test. Okay, whenever he attempts the mock test, right, the chatbot rates and evaluates the or assess the answers for the given questions. So he checks, okay, the question is this, the answer is this. He checks the similar questions or answers within the database, or it's rated as poor, average, or good. So based on this ratings of the cumulative answers, he will be knowing what exactly I need to go with the next learning pipeline. Then lack of attitude, self-awareness of the job role. So people don't know mostly about the job role, right? So they will be mentioning many skills into the job role, but at the interview part, at the while attempting the interview, right? So the candidate was not able to answer most of the questions that was part of the job description. So that can be eliminated with this mock interviews or adding this chatbots in the streamline of recruitment processes to filter the actual candidates for the interview. So it's also helpful for job seekers to improve their skills in terms of able to able to crack the real interview. So candidates have very few options of for AI-driven cost-effective platforms. They are very limited platforms where the candidates can able to access the skills. So it able to also assure feedback and the performance during interview. Before going more detailed process of the project, I just added few details of prompt engineering here. So what are what is prompt engineering and what is all about LLMs, right? So prompt engineering is nothing but giving a proper instructions to the large language model for your output, generating an output. So we do have different LLMs. We are such as like base LLMs, instruction tuned LLMs. So base LLMs are like general purpose LLMs. They are raw available, right? Such as GPT-3, GPT, Llama, any LLMs. So they can perform on a many number of tasks such as like test completion, code completion, summarization, right? You can also use them for sentiment analysis, any number of the given tasks. Coming to instruction tuned LLMs, they can able to do a set of tasks better. So they have been fine tuned for performing a set of tasks, such as I can use BERT for a set of tasks. It may be summarization, right? So those the set of tasks can be done better with the instruction tuned LLMs. So here base LLMs predict next word based on next training data, and so they are usually the naturally available LLMs, and instruction tuned LLMs are the fine tuned on instructions, and they are fine tuned LLMs. They can they can generate a better output for your given task. So in terms of prompt engineering, you need to clear and specific. You need to give clear and specific instruction to the uh, to the to the model, right? To the model which you are using. So in terms of clearance, like you need to give reduce the chances of connection, or you don't like when we have ChatGPT interface, right? We need to add the proper context, more clarity for the prompt, so that we will be getting a relevant output. So in order to get relevant output, you have to be specific and you have to be a proper context. So in order to attain that, okay, you need to use few of the techniques, such as using delimiters to 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 giving the proper set of prompt. Adding, you can also get a structured output with the LLMs. Like when you give a HTML file, right? So you can also expect conversion of given files output into the JSON format. So you can also give set of conditions to be validated before giving an output. Also, you can add few of the examples in the prompt, and you can expect a different uh, in your solution or answer for the next set of example without an answer, right? So I have given an example and a prompt, then I will give yes next task where I will be having an example. I need a response to be generated. So with the given example or few short prompting, it able to generate the prompt for me, or the output for me. And then you need to give the model time to think. It may be like you need to add more number of steps given within a single prompt, which is a structured or the complete set of tasks. So that defines the model to understand and to give the relevant output for you for the given set of tasks. So and also we know, right, there are few limitations with LLMs, such as hallucinations, making or giving improper outputs. How to reduce hallucination is also a part where you need to fine tune, or what are the fine tuning techniques you need to see. So initially, we started the project with market analysis. We see what are the top three non-tech job positions in terms of HR positions or HR jobs, such as business development, marketing, sales, customer support, right? So we choose these few of the domains and few of the job roles. For these job roles, we started collecting the data. So we started collecting the data in terms of questions, answers, and the answers are also like the good answers, the bad answer, the average answers. So we collected different set of data for the given job roles, and then we collected the parameters. So after collecting the data, right? It's not like the collecting the data. So it's like we try to set, okay, this is actually we want in terms of the data collection. So here we collected the data from different sites. So so this I can say market analysis is nothing but creating the guidelines, finalizing the job roles, and sticking to the pattern what the data should be collected. And in data collection and pre-processing, we have scraped the data or the questions from Glassdoor for the given job roles. So and then few of the processing techniques of NLP has been done on the given data set and generated response and all. And yeah, my colleague Anand will go ahead with the RAG technique, which has been used in the project.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So let me just share my screen. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So I hope my screen is visible. Okay, right. So basically, what we'll start with is, we'll just see a use case with RAG and without RAG, right? So the left of the screen, right, you'll be able to see the task that we are trying to do, right, without the support of RAG, and on the right side we'll see, the same task which is done with the help of RAG, right? Now, what does RAG stand for? So RAG stands for retrieval, augmentation, and generation, right? So in the retrieval part, what we will be looking at is basically from the data, right, that we have collected, as Yaya mentioned, right, we'll try to retrieve the relevant answers or the relevant questions and then pass it to the LLM using augmentation, which is about creating a prompt, right? And once the prompt is created, we'll allow the LLM to go ahead and generate the answers for us, right? Okay, so let's look at the case where where we are without a RAG. Right? So what happens in a normal case is the LLM has been pre-trained with some kind of an information, right? In this case, right, in this diagram, it is written, right, all the information that is available with the LLM is from 2021 and before, right? So the recent information will not be available with the LLM, correct? And along with that, there would be some generic data which is not time bound, right? And whenever we ask a question to the LLM, right, it answers based on these two data types that it has, right? And for because of that, what happens is that whenever, let's say for example, if you ask the LLM to generate uh, the summary for, let's say, the World Cup that just happened recently, right? So it will give out a fictional response because it does not have the necessary data to build the answer response, right? So which is seen here, right? The answer response exists somewhere else, which the LLM does not have access to, right? But in the second case, we'll just insert a RAG into this mix, right? First, what we'll do is that we'll try to see whatever relevant data that we have in our system, right? This can be any domain knowledge data or any internal data, right? Which can be passed into the RAG module, where we'll just extract the relevant content, right? And based on that, we'll just generate a few prompts, right, and then pass it to the LLM, right? So by doing this thing, what happens is that we get a more accurate result. The answer is statistically correct. It's not fictional, right? And that's how RAG helps us, right? So these are the drawbacks of not using RAG, right? So I mean, the problems that RAG solves, right? That's how we should put it. Okay. So the first point is, it has got the outdated information, and LLM has an outdated information, right? Second thing is lack of domain knowledge. So domain knowledge can be about something like an interview bot, right? What questions can be asked to an interview, and how the candidate should respond, right? That's domain knowledge. Internal data, again, it has no access to internal data. So internal data can be the statistics of an organization, the number of users that are using the interview bot, those kind of data, right? So it does not have access to that. And there's no explainability, right? So by explainability, what we mean is that to a given input, right, there is no such set of outputs that it can generate, right? So it will generate things at random, right? So you won't be able to trace the outputs, you won't be able to debug the LLM, and that's why the results won't be good, correct? So this is what basic RAG is about. Of course, there are more advanced methods on RAGs. There's a lot of stuff that has happened, but this is more a naive version of RAG that we have gone ahead with, right? So next is the architecture, right? So this architecture is something that we have utilized in our system, right? So on the left, right, what we see are the question and answers. So these are the question and answers which the user has answered or asked in the interview, right? Which the user was asked and the user answered, correct? Towards the bottom is the RAG part, right, wherein as Yaya mentioned, right, we had collected a few question and answers, and we inputted that into a vector DB, right, using some embedding. So we used, the default model given by Chroma DB to embed our documents and store it into a vector DB, right, Chroma DB. Now, based on that, whenever a question and an answer comes on, right, from the interview, right, what we do is that we again embed it using the same model, right, and we try to semantically match the question and answers here, right? So what happens when we match semantic answering question is that we get the relevant content, right? And so I'll just show you the content that we get from the LLM, right? So this is basically what we are looking at, right? This is the relevant content that we have entered into our database. So if you see, right, there's a document which is nothing but a list of questions, right, that we have that we had extracted, right? And based on that, we have a bit of metadata, right, which is around interview phase, positions, right? This is one of the databases, right? So during question generation, right, this is what we are interested in. We are interested in the question, the list of questions, and the interview phase and the positions, right? Based on this, we generate the questions to ask to the user, right? And once we do that, right, and the user answers all the questions, right, that's when this answer collection gets called, right? So this answer collection again contains a list of answers, and the metadata contains the quality of answers that we had, correct? So this is what we try to query when we are actually semantically searching it, right? So here basically both those database collections get called. We try to retrieve the similar content based on the questions and the answers asked to the candidate, right? And after that, what we do is that we try to minimize or we try to reduce the number of questions that we found for each of these examples, right? Good, average, and poor examples to one each, right? So this is done in order to reduce the context length, right? So for different LLMs, there's a different length, right? So we try to make sure that we are not overloading the LLM with a huge length, right? Again, so this is the retrieval part where we retrieved all the question and answers based on the types of answers, right? Based on the ratings of the answers. Next is the augmentation part. So in the augmentation, what we are doing is we are building the prompt, right? We are using a few shot learning approach, correct? As you see in this example, right, there's a default instruction which is passed to the LLM along with the three ratings answers, right? A good, average, and poor, along with the questions and answers. This will be a list of question and answers that we have asked to the candidate, and which we are passing to the LLM, and we are saying or we are instructing the LLM to find out the ratings of these answers, right? And based on these exemplars that we have given, right? And based on that, the LLM generates a feedback, right? So next, what we'll do is that very quickly we'll go through the demo so that this becomes very concrete, right? So I'll just take you through the interface. So this is a very basic interface that we have generated, right? Here we have to enter the candidate name, the job position, which is a drop down, right? In this job position, we have got number of positions that we have found our data to, right? So I'll just choose a nurse, right? Because of course I have prepared my presentation around that, okay? Or I'll just give a different name. I'll just give it John Doe. And now what I'll do is that I'll just start the mock interview. So the moment I start the mock interview, right, the very first question pops up, which is around the summary of the educational background and the prior work experience that this person has had, right? Again, based on that, we'll be able to see the history and the results, right? So we'll go one by one, and I'll show you the interface as well, right? So I'll just give an input for the summary of a job role of a nurse, right? Okay. Dedicated and passionate registered nurse with a diverse background in healthcare. Holds a degree in nursing from Apollo. proven expertise in providing patient-centered care, managing medical records, and collaborating with teams. Skilled in administering medications, providing vital signs, and implementing nursing care plans. Excited about contributing to clinical research and compassionate care to develop a dynamic healthcare environment. So the moment I enter this thing, right, there's a button to start and stop the recording, right? So the moment I stop the recording, what is happening here is that we are converting our speech into text, right? And since this was a longer sentence, right, it will take a bit of time to convert it to text. And the moment that gets done, right, so now the text conversion has been completed. Now it is trying to use the RAG method to generate the questions to ask us for the mock interview, right? So this takes the questions are generated based on three variables. One is the job position, second one is the interview phase, and third one is the summary that we gave, right? So if you see here, right, that's the first question that it has asked: how do you envision your contributions to the nursing profession? Okay, so I've prepared a few answers, which I will just search through. And yeah, that's right. So I can bring in compassionate care to the patients who really needed it. So that's answer one. So the moment I answer the question, it gets again converted to text, and the second question pops up, right? As a dedicated professional nurse, can you share your experience? Right. So I don't have this answer. So basically, we have trained a few fallback mechanisms, right, which we can use here, right? So I can just say that I don't know the answer to this question, right? So I'll just say that I don't know the answer to the question. Again, if we answer something random, let's give another poor answer for this particular question, right? So it says, what did you why did you want to be a nurse, right? So I'll just say I care about the patients, and I'm interested in medical research. Okay. So this is asking me about how do I stay updated with the latest developments, right? So the answer to this is I constantly talk to the head nurse as well as the doctors in the hospital to understand the best practices in the medical field. I also read magazines and journals to keep myself updated. Okay. So let me just randomly answer the next few questions, as I don't want to answer, right, in interest of everyone's time, right? Yeah, I don't want to answer this question. I don't want to answer this question. I don't know the answer to this question. Please ask me a new question. I don't want to answer. I don't want to answer. Okay. So this shows that my mock interview is over, right? I can go to the history now and see the answers that I have given, right? So the latest questions will come on top. The very first question about the summary would be the last one, followed by the answer. Right? Now let us go ahead and you know let us generate the results, right? So on the results, we have a feedback button. So when we click on this thing, right, the RAG will again get invoked, but here it will be used to evaluate the answers that I have given to each and every question, right? So based on the answers that I have given, I think the results are going to be quite bad, but we'll just see to it, right? Also, it takes a bit of time, since we are not running this thing on cloud, right? We are running it in our local system, so it takes a bit of time to generate the questions or generate the feedback, right? So we'll just pause here for a moment, and in the meanwhile I will, if it does not work very fast, I have some previous results that I have collected. Okay, great. So it was able to do it quickly, right? So these are the questions that I have been asked. These are the answers that I have given. And if you see here, right, the rating of the answers is present here, right? So this answer was rated as good, right, along with the a few more content which the LLM was able to generate, right, as to what was good in my answer, how can I improve my answer, all of those things, right? So yeah, so here I said I don't know the answer to this question. So of course it was a poor answer, which we knew, right, and therefore it gave poor, right? So this is how it keeps on going, right? Again, this answer was also poor, right, and it just showed me how I should have answered this question, right? It just says this thing, right? The answer does not show any passion or interest in the field of nursing, right? So which is something which can help the candidate learn from the interview and answer the questions accordingly, right? So I hope the demo was clear for everyone, right? So yeah, yeah, over to you. Just stop sharing.
Yes, thank you, Anand. Yes, thank you. Yes, do we have any questions? How do we can take the questions? Okay, okay. Yeah, we have done the mock interview chatbot uh, the project, right, which we have been successfully completed. I mean, in 2 months, but this project can also be completed with a proper direction within 1 week or 2 weeks. So you need to have the given dedication or the given ideas how to be implementing this project or the techniques initially as mentioned by Anand, such as RAG, prompt engineering. So, and also you need to see what is the feedback mechanism you have been involved or used in your chatbot. So it initially required the design and the problem which you are trying to work on, and then you can start converting your design into your project. Yeah. Okay. So we can just wrap it up here on. Thank you. Thank you, Anand. Thank you, Omdena, for giving us the opportunity to showcase our project and trying to make people aware how the knowledge, right? So they can also build the chatbot with our given set of details. Yes, thank you all.
Yeah, thank you everyone, thanks for joining.
Thank you, Yahya and